Power BI and Power Apps are both siblings in Power Platform, but do you really know how closely they can work together? There are few better people to show this than Scott Sewell, and today he's going to show us some of his demos on PowerCat Live. Welcome to PowerCat Live. My name is Phil Toppus on the PowerCat team, and today we're here with Scott Sewell, Principal Program Manager on the Power BI Cat team. Hey, Scott.
Hey, Phil.
So the cats are meeting.
Yes, exactly. It's the two power teams linking up here. This is awesome.
This is great because Power Platform is both of these technologies coming together, and you're going to talk about how that happens.
Yeah, it's fantastic because this one platform has so many different things we can solve for customer challenges with. It's easy to get focused in on what we are zoned in on and lose the silo, wind up in a silo, when in fact we can solve so many more adjacent problems by taking advantage of all the tools we got in this platform. It's an amazing platform.
Yeah, I represent what you're talking about. I could be much deeper on Power BI, and I think I would love it. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what you got to show us. But before we get into that, talk a little bit about how you got into this role, right? How did you become a cat?
So I'm allergic to cats, so I don't know about that. But I actually grew up on the implementing Dynamics. So starting with CRM 1.0 back in 2002, 2003.
Yeah.
But through that journey of early CRMs, and then it became XRM as we got that. I kept finding that all this time as I was implementing and working with the customer, I kept finding these adjacent problems to the core app that I was working on that I could solve with data. And I'm just excited about the way the things work together now. We got so many better options now than we did in the past.
So let's talk about then, because we're going to talk a little bit about model-driven apps, and you're going to show Dynamics, right? As an example of a type of model-driven app. Why do we need Power BI? We've got dashboards.
Well, yeah, it's got dashboards already, which are great, and they have a value, but they also have some limitations. Let me show you an example. Let me flip over to the demo here, and I'll show you. This is a standard dashboard, a sales dashboard. These are normal things you've seen. If you look at a sales manager summary, you're seeing the early 90s called and they want their dashboards back. They're fairly straightforward, but don't get me wrong, they have their value. But we also see things where we start seeing timeouts based on the size of the data we're asking for. Now we're seeing this Power BI dashboard brought in as a system dashboard. And this data can be data both inside of Dataverse and outside of Dataverse. But we can also get into some of the more advanced AI tools that are built into it. Like, for instance, if I wanted to, looked at it by product, or if I wanted to say, what happens if we get another pandemic, and I want to make out of a parameter that changes a value interactively in just the data in the dashboard, I can do that and help a customer understand how different changes might change the way their data is being shown, or it might show the outcome. So it gives them a very predictive approach. We also have things like the key influencer, which helps us understand, take a big basket of data, roll it up together, and find out what is driving the changes to things. Really an AI tool looking at random regression analysis across this data. So we're going way beyond the funnel charts and a pie chart that we start with, and giving customers real insight into what's going on into their business.
I guess I see why that's better than a funnel chart. Now, you've been showing aggregated data. Like, is this still useful if I'm looking at a single record?
That's really what's exciting about it, is we can take the same approach where we look at the aggregated data and roll up big, ginormous amounts of data. But a lot of times, as an individual, I'm going to be looking at serving a particular customer. In my case, I think in terms of customer data, but it could be I'm looking at a particular warehouse. I did an example with a big manufacturing company where we looked at factories, and so I had a record in the data set for each factory. In this case, I'll show it to you. Just going to an account record, but it could be anything. And I have the general things that I have on my model-driven app, the information about them. But also have added an analytics tab. So you notice I'm on the Graham Inc. sales record, account record. Once I go to the analytics tab, I see Now I see a Graham Inc. filtered report. So I'm pulling a Power BI report that's filtered to the context of the record that I'm on. So as I'm looking at Graham, I can see this report. This data could again be data that sits inside a Dataverse. It could be data that's inside a Dataverse plus data outside of Dataverse, or it could be all data outside of Dataverse. It could be streaming analytics coming in. It could be all this stuff, but it's really giving us this really rich contextual information for a customer to be able to tackle whatever problems they're working on and filter it down to just the scope of which they're working on that day. There's really no UI in the model driven app to invoke this. We have to kind of jump out for a little bit. In fact, let me show you real quick.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
show you
see.
what it looks like. I use the XRM Toolbox toolkit, which is, I think
We all
everybody
use
probably
it.
knows.
Yeah.
Everybody knows and loves it. There's a tool called the Power BI embedder. Bring that in, and all you do is you point to the entity that you want this on. I went ahead and created on the form a section on a tab that's set by itself. And all I do is go to the form that I'm using, what tab, and then what the name of the section is on that tab. So I had a blank when it was created, nothing in it, just a blank section. All I'll do is pass over a couple of fields, fill values from Power BI where I've put my report. I'm going to point right here and say, I want to pass the account ID from CDS. I'm going to pass that over to Power BI's data set to an account ID field over there. And when I do that, I want you to filter the report to the record that I'm on. So very easy to do that. There's a video that I'll walk through just an example of how to do this, both from embedding a model-driven app into a system dashboard, a Power BI into a system dashboard on Power BI, and also to embed it into a form like this.
Now, when you connect Power BI into this data, then does this data all become managed by the Power BI service, or how does that work?
Yeah, it can be either way. You can, for performance-wise, you're going to get super fast responsiveness on a Power BI report if it's been imported into the Power BI service and it's there, and it's already can go ahead and pre-calculate aggregations and things. There's some really cool tools to be able to scale that up to. Literally, we have some examples of billions of records in this thing.
Wow.
There's one example that they did with a massive scaled group of 1 trillion records, but in most cases, I'm dealing with millions of records is kind of my area. So you can pull that in and pre-calculate a lot of things, and the report can be really responsive. But again, that's pulling the data out of Dataverse into this model and making it really responsive. The cool thing, though, is we can now have the data still sitting inside a Dataverse and leave it there, especially in situations where security or partitioning of the data inside of that report, inside that environment is important so like one salesperson can't see another salesperson's deals, or different projects are not allowed to see other projects'
Dataverse security role type stuff.
Any of those security models, Power BI can do what we call direct query against the Dataverse backend. Inside, we have a Dataverse button. We can connect directly to Dataverse. By the way, everything else on the screen is sample data. It's not real. But I can point to Dataverse through its endpoint, and I can log in and point to which environment within it. It's very nice there. I can also go as far as filtering the data according to the current user, so that if I log in fact, this is an example where I've pulled in and I'm passing over. You'll recognize this is just a simple select statement, and the parameter is I'm filtering by current user. That way, Phil, when you log in, you're going to see the data filtered to the data you're allowed to see. And when I log in, I'm going to see the data I'm allowed to see, and never the twain shall meet. So it's really a nice ability to do that, either as security or just filtering it. So when I log in by default, I see my opportunities, the records where I'm the owner, as a possibility. So nice enhancement there.
So Scott, you covered so much in a very short time, and my sense is that you've got more to show us. Where do people go to find out more?
There's obviously great information. The video is out there. It's an opportunity to see the process of putting in place. We've got links and I think we'll add some links in the description here for
Yeah.
links to the doc site for Microsoft Power BI Docs.
Mhm.
It really focuses on the Dataverse side of things, and we're expanding that. I'm adding some use cases or some best practices that as I've implemented this and I've worked with this, finding ways to expand it beyond that. It's a growing area, and that's part of the excitement of it. Is it's constantly changing. Keep an eye on that and reach out to me. You can hit me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I probably should be promoting LinkedIn instead, but hit me on LinkedIn, and I'd love to be able to help unblock you.
So there you go. You can reach Scott by Twitter, LinkedIn, his home phone number. It's all available there in the description. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely.
Now, before you go, we are making new videos every week. Click this Microsoft logo to subscribe and you'll be the first to see them. And look over here for a couple of videos that can make you a Power Platform expert.